All right, here is let's see, what are we on? So I'm recording this the day after, but this is October 18th, which would be Wednesday. All right, so this is how one would have played this. Again, the levels were on fire if you just stick to the rules of getting in at levels. But so there's a lot of things that happened. Today, there's a lot of movement. Anytime you are a member above or below a bull or bear pivot, you have a potential of a lot of range, but you have to get in and you just have to hold. Sometimes you get fast moves, sometimes you get really slow moves, but you can see that we're still trending down. To the left, you can see that we were at the mid, and that's why the multi-day pivot we're at the mid, and so that's why we were a little jaded today. But what ended up happening is where you had a big gap down, or another sort of big gap down, but we gapped right into that mid level pivot, and then from there, that's why I like to draw lines on, like, look to your left. That's the 30-minute. I like to draw a line so that I have it on my right. It gives me a reference. So if you notice that first 30 minutes, first hour, we held that range. That doesn't mean that it's going to hold, and I wouldn't necessarily use it as like the intraday pivots. That's why you have your own intraday pivot, but it gives you sort of a reference point. So you can see that we were holding that in the morning. But so we actually shot up, and what did we do? We actually came to support that I mentioned in the previous day's video, that at the end of the afternoon, this was support, which was the 190 area. So what did we do? We went right up to it, and then 5 minutes later, we went right back down. And then we just kept on going up, down, and finally we ended up breaking up and over, and one would think, uh-oh, are we breaking out? Well, the thing you have to always remember is we are still, look to your left, in a consolidation pattern. So yes, it could have kept on going up, but your max, I would think, would be more of that bull pivot before the next move would come, which would be right in this area. So what we actually did was we went and came and filled the gap, this value gap right here, and then immediately tanked. So even if you miss this move, this is what you should have been looking for. Remember that first 30 minutes or hour. Did we close above the pivot or below a pivot? Well, you can see that at 9:20 or 9:15, we came above, but we broke 5 minutes before the candle ended back below. So what does that tell you? We are now bearish, and really we were bearish that entire day. This was just a quick look above and fail, and anytime you have a pattern like this where it's a consolidation, break up, and then you break back below, then you are going to have a pretty, I want to say violent drop, but it's more of you're going to have usually a continuation to the next pivot. So what do? We got close, and then it ended up coming back up to the pivot, but in reality, it never broke above. So even if one would have got in, at the pivot and risked to above it, and your target was down here, yeah, you would have had to wait, all morning for it to get down there, like right at 11:55, 12 o'clock. It took all morning to get to this pivot. It got close. That's why I always say anytime you have a big move, you want to start selling into this push, because you never know, especially at the end of a 30-minute candle, what it might do. And so it ended up trending up, popped up, and then ended up coming right back down. And then you can see right at 12 o'clock, that's what I always say in other videos, at 12 or 12:30 is the key when it comes to did we make newer lows or newer highs? Did we make a newer low at 12? No, we did not. So, and we're above the pivot. So I would go long. Sure enough, if you went long, you would have had another 100 points. And then did we break resistance at 12:30? It's not 12:30 yet, which is right here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to short it. It's resistance or support until proven otherwise. So here's another 100 points. And then from here, it's 12:30. Did we make new lows? No, we did not. What do? You long it. So you got about 60 points, 50, 60 points right here. Now eventually it's gotta make a move or do something in the afternoon. Usually you're not going to consolidate all day in within a bear pivot and multi-day pivot. So you could see it came up to VWAP and then it ended up trending all the way down right to at the last 15 minutes of the day, right into the -1 ATR. So this was a full ATR move from filling the gap all the way down to the -1 ATR move. And then the last 15, 20 minutes, we ended up having close to a 100-point move right there. These last two candles are 10 minutes after the close. So in reality, it went from here to the fib. So that's how you have to play it. Again, compartmentalize. Don't be married to a position, especially when you start getting into resistance of above. And then when you're in some kind of consolidation pattern on a bigger time frame, that there could be fakers. And sure enough, this is what you're looking for, was more of a continuation move. If we would have broke back above the yesterday's close, then yes, I would say I would be bullish. But the fact that we opened below and then we came here within that first hour, I mean, you'll see this pattern a lot, and it can give you a lot of points. So that was Wednesday. We will see you tomorrow.